Mike, I'm beginning to think that the sports gods want this show to succeed. Because we've been doing this for 4 weeks now, and in those 4 weeks, we have had Dirk. Mm-hmm. We have had two teams suing each other. Yeah. We have had the Cowboys and Jerry Jones deciding now would be the time to make the biggest trade for an incoming player in years, literal years. And now we've got Liberation Day.
Really do.
Yeah.
These unprecedented times, I wish they were less precedented at this point. Like just a normal week would be okay, guys. Like I would just like to, I don't know. Yesterday, I was glued to the internet yesterday. The city was on fire.
Yeah.
And so was the internet, and I wanted to experience it with everybody. It felt like there needed to be some level of parade where you could just run down the street and enjoy it with each other. But it's been pretty crazy, no doubt.
A little bit. So you probably know Nico Harrison, no longer the Mavericks general manager.
What?
Yeah. It was a little bit of local news. Yeah. You may also know, the good people, that Mike Marshall, my great and intrepid co-host here, he used to work for the Mavericks. You were vice president of content. You were there for 7 years. You were there pre-Luka trade. You were there, more importantly for this conversation, you were there post-Luka trade.
Yeah.
So as an entry point of talking about this news, you've got a vantage point unlike most people do, because everybody who cares about this team has an opinion about this. This affected everybody in some way, big or small. But for you, this affected your life, quite literally. This affected your workplace. This affected your friends. This affected your existence until you came to the good ship SSD magazine. So let's start with that, man. I mean, how are you feeling? This is I've imagine you got a lot of thoughts over the last 9 months about what this has been like.
Yeah, I do. And a good friend sent me a message last night, just how you feeling? In the most concise way that I could summarize it was, I feel like I'm watching a public execution of somebody that did my family very, very wrong. So it's not necessarily like relief. It's not even joy or, schadenfreude, or it's damn you for making me do this is like the feeling that I had yesterday. And it was just like frustration, and I guess it's good. The lesson I would like to come out of this for everybody that works in any capacity, not even sports, just across the board, is that you can't make the worst trade in sports history and cost your franchise hundreds of millions of dollars and keep your job. That's what I would like the lesson to be, but that's not really the lesson, because he went on keeping his job for 9 more months. The lesson is you can't make the worst trade in sports history and cost your team hundreds of millions of dollars. And the fans revolt for 9 straight months.
Yeah.
That's the part the lesson that I learned.
Yeah.
Right? It's not even that you can't do these bad things and get away with it. It's you can't do these bad things and make me hear about it from the fans for 9 straight months, which was kind of like the initial reaction across the organization from the top was, wow, I didn't know y'all were going to be this mad about this.
Which is incredible. Truly incredible. And the most literal sense of the
thing
words.
To hear.
I cannot credibly believe people did not know, but clearly they did not know.
Yeah.
And there is a way to spin this as something of a victory of, to your point, like, yes, objectively on its merits, you should lose your job for making the decisions he made. It is, and Jay Kemp is writing about this for today over at StrongSide, it is a testament to the fact that people did make this happen. If people just went about their business and stopped chanting Fire Nico and kept buying the merch, and it's okay
sellout streak.
The sellout streak keeps going, and it's unabated. Yes, sir, this is what you say we should do, so we'll do it. That guy has a job right now.
Yeah. This is a credit to Mavs fans.
Yeah.
Honestly, you won. You arm wrestled with the Adelsons, with the Dumonts, with Nico Harrison, with everybody in charge at the Mavs, and you won. You voiced your displeasure for what had happened. You made them know that this isn't going to stop. We're not going to stop chanting Fire Nico until you do the thing we want. Now, I don't know if there's enough piss and vinegar left in everybody where we're going to re-aim at somebody else pretty soon.
I don't think that's happening, and I don't think those people are going to listen to the piss and vinegar when it comes to themselves, if that's how this plays out.
Maybe not. But, I mean, this is a lesson, and if you abuse a fan base and an organization for as long as they've owned the team, quite frankly, since December 20th, whatever it is, 2023, you don't get away with it.
Yeah.
You don't just get to keep on marching and smiling and everything's good and having another great day over here, because the moment they stepped in the door, jacked up ticket prices.
Yep. I did it again last year.
Yeah. And then, hey, we're going to trade the best player. And you know what? You're an idiot. You won't even get it. You won't even get how good this is going to be. No. You're not going to understand it. We figured it out. My guy over here, he's so smart. He figured out you can trade one of the best players in basketball, get back a guy that's, pretty much broken, and everything's going to be good. You just can't see the vision as of yet.
We planned for that 1% chance to win the lottery.
Yeah.
Even though it's
Fortune favors the bold.
Even though it's a direct repudiation on our entire strategy of we'll win faster if we do this. Don't
Failed
look at that.
So hard.
This was always plan B. We can manipulate the math, guys.
Yeah. Crashed so hard that you somehow dead cat bounced into winning the lottery. And the thing that's been rattling in my head over the last 24 hours is, if it was such a bad decision that 9 months later you're giving this person 11 games, 3 and 8, 11 games into my vision. If it is so wrong and he did such a bad job with that one decision that 9 months later that it's wrong, it was wrong in the moment.
Yeah.
It was that wrong in the moment. And if what you're actually admitting to people right now, that I don't think they understand that the Mavs fan base is pretty smart. They're pretty slick, dude. They pay attention. What you're admitting right now is that this trade was not made for the best interest of the Dallas basketball franchise. It was made, it's a power struggle. It was made to slight Mark Cuban and make sure he's all the way out of the picture. And also because Nico Harrison did not want to cede power to Luka Doncic, who was about to sign the biggest contract in the history of basketball, thus making Luka more powerful than Nico.
Yes.
And his representation more powerful than Nico. And his agent more powerful than Nico. He couldn't live with that idea.
No.
Because if you truly buy into the idea of this is better for our basketball team, you give him more than 11 games. You have to. You're in the boat. Y'all are on the sea. You're rowing.
Well, the alternative, and this is also some of the truth here, is that this is a dude who, it's funny that in a vacuum, and especially in the wake of the Mark Cuban era, when a lot of people's chief criticism of Mark was he was very involved in things that he shouldn't always be super involved in. Well, here along comes a guy who, a guy who runs a lot of businesses, says, hey, this isn't my field of expertise. Here's a middle manager around. He knows basketball. We were just in the finals, 3 games away from taking it all home. Mm-hmm. And this guy says I should do this. Now, who am I going to trust? Myself, who I don't know, and I recognize I don't know, or this guy? In a vacuum, it's not bad process. The problem is, I don't care if you live in Las Vegas. I don't care if you live in Timbuktu. I don't care if you live on the North and the South Pole exclusively all year. You have to know if you own a team in Dallas, Texas, that you should not trade Luka Doncic. It doesn't work.
Yep.
There is no justification. None. And that's the thing. They could have, had they won. The whole gamble was, and they said it verbatim the day after the trade, the fans will come back when we win. Not all of them would have.
Yeah.
Even if they won. Because the story of this team.
That was wrong. That's an ignorant, wrong statement.
Right. The story of this franchise was, maybe it still is with Cooper Flagg, but was definitively, here is our importive native son who embraces us, and in turn we embrace them, and we stick through the struggle. Took Dirk a long time to win that ring.
Yeah.
Wasn't always pretty between him and the city. But you know what? It got done, and people stuck that out. And here comes Luke, and here's the clean transition. People were going to ride with that guy.
That resolve right there is what made me believe that before this happened, they were never going to stop. They were never going to stop yelling fire Nico. They were never going to get over it. It's because that same resolve that we have as Mavericks fans of going decades of not having the success that we want and not knowing if we're good enough through the Dirk era. And we were halfway through the Luka era. 7 seasons.
If even halfway.
Yeah. 7 seasons through the Luka era of doing the exact same thing. We were here. we were ready for the long haul.
Yeah.
We're going to be here next year, ready to go at it again. And one of these years, we're going to break through.
Yeah.
And one of these years, he's going to be MVP.
It wasn't just about the number of rings.
No. That's exact same DNA that we have to fight through it all and keep pushing for decades behind a guy that we believe in is the exact same thing that kept the chants going, that kept people yelling, running up to people at whatever the wing restaurant was that Nico ran up on.
Yeah, Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah, at Addison.
Like it wasn't going to stop.
No.
It was not going to stop. And I cannot say that about every franchise or even half of the NBA franchises.
I can't say that
Maverick
about,
fans.
I was going to say, I don't know if I would say that about any other. Maybe Stars fans are pretty rabid, but most teams, even in this city.
Yeah.
Because what this was always about, and I wrote about this the morning it happened, it was about the idea, we're in our late 30s. We watched Dirk come to town when we were 10, 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He left when we were 32, 33 years old. That is constants in a way that nothing else is in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote about it when Dirk retired. I wrote, before I worked for D Magazine, I wrote that we are the Dirk generation. There are millions of people in that span. Because it's 21 years, it didn't have to be our age. You could have been younger, you could have been older.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Dirk generation. And now, because Luka was here, this was the Luka generation. And it's different for us working in the business now than it was when we were kids. We didn't do this, right? The feelings we have for Dirk are not quite the feelings I had for Luka. I loved watching him play in this city. I loved watching him do impressive things. I loved watching how he made people happy. I looked forward to taking my daughter to games and explaining to her when she's big enough to get it, because she's going to be 2 in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time she could be 5 or 6, Luka would still be in his late 20s.
Yeah.
Explaining to him, I had Dirk, you have Luka.
Yeah.
Not many people are lucky enough to have this.
Yeah.
And that's what it was really about here. And when you take that from people and you don't have any good reason, you talk about this being power. The power of Luka is very real in this. The other bit of power is very much, and I wrote this in the piece that's on the site now at StrongSide after the Nico firing. The whole reason people are mad is because it's a story about power, about people who are not from here.
Mm-hmm.
The Edelson family is from Vegas. Nico Harrison's from Portland. They're not from here. They don't get why this stuff mattered here.
Mm-hmm.
And they took this away from people, and they apologized for none of it.
Yep.
And that's why the chants kept going, and that's why Nico Harrison got fired. And who knows, maybe this affects real change. This is the first step in the process. This is not, maybe there are some people, for them, it's over now. I don't think that's going to be the case for most people. I think there's a lot of work still to be done. And now, it almost felt to me like you're at a TV show and you kill off, the big boss gets killed off, and then you realize he was just working for someone else. And the big bosses taught them out. And you're like, okay, in the next season, we're going to see how that struggle goes. Nico's gone.
Yeah.
But that big out-of-towners who make the calls, they're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, because they don't have to go anywhere, all anybody can really hope for, whether you are a fan of this team or whether you are people like us who live in this city and we care about things that belong to the city succeeding and making people happy, all you can care about is that a lesson has been learned. Because I don't believe everything, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm naive, I don't believe all of this from Patrick Dumont was cynical. I believe there's a lot of cynicism from Nico Harrison. I believe there's a lot of selfish decision-making. I don't think all of that was informing Patrick Dumont greenlighting this and signing the paper. I think a lot of this was just, I don't know, man, I trust you. And then realizing, oh shit, I should not have trusted this guy, which is why Nico Harrison doesn't work here anymore.
Right.
So the best thing you can hope for now is that he is paying attention and that he is listening, and that maybe that will lead to more curiosity and more ownership of how can I do a thing that does right by these people. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to know that answer for a long time.
Yeah.
But at least now, a very large impediment to that process happening is out the door.
Yeah, you have to start it somewhere.
Yeah.
You can't just fast forward to halfway through the process of healing the Mavs fan base. You got to start at some point. I am shocked that it happened this quick. It does admit a lot of past mistakes. Letting a shoe salesman talk you into trading Luka Doncic is unforgivable.
Yeah, you still I don't care how new you are. You have to know the one basic fact of what you bought.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny that they're in another situation in which the assignments at the top and the power who holds the power at the top is confusing with interim co-GMs and then what kid might do.
What Mark Cuban might want to do?
Yeah, eventually. I think that's hilarious because they've caught themselves in so many traps over the first 2 years by setting up similar situations. It causes so many issues, dude. It causes so many issues. And I was working for the team when the trade happened. I was there.
Yep.
I woke up to that and realized what I had put my time and effort and a lot of my life into was gone. And I can read things pretty quickly. I see the long-term ramifications of things almost immediately. I'm not super smart. I have that skill. And I knew it was never, ever going to be the same. And these people were not going to forgive you for that.
No.
In any time soon.
No.
It would, maybe a new group of people shows up and, oh, what's this basketball in Dallas? This might be fun. And all these transplants we have now become the Mavs fans. But the group of people that were Mavericks fans were never going to forgive you. And to let that happen over a power play and a power struggle by a guy that was a first-time GM 3.5 years into his tenure, and not just ask anybody else.
Walk the street in this city. It requires you being in this city.
There are so many talented and smart people that work within the Mavs organization. Just honestly ask any of them.
Yeah.
And they will tell you, these people will not get off your ass you do something this dumb.
Yeah.
And also, terrible idea. Whoever suggested it, fire them immediately.
Yeah.
So on March 7th, I had been working in post-Luka life for a month and 6 days. And I wrote down my path for winning back the MFFLs.
Let's hear it.
Which we don't, I guess we got rid of that term, Patrick. You can still use MFFLs. I know it was Mark's thing, but the old heads that were here and still have a lot of season tickets, they call themselves MFFLs. So maybe use that in the next letter.
Well,
just an idea.
Listen, man, they also call them NBA Finals, not the championship games. We got a little lexicon stuff to brush up on.
Yeah, so this is March 7th.
Okay.
This is a month after the Luka trade.
More than 6 months ago now.
Yes, this is way before Cooper Flagg was even an idea.
On the radar. Yeah.
Number one, this says next 4 months. And by the way, this became somewhat of an internal memo to people that I trusted in the organization, right?
Yeah.
If you saw this, you know who you are. Next 4 months, number one, fire Nico. It does not matter if he was correct or made the correct assessment. His name is poison to our fans, and the plan he put in motion imploded within 1 month. He cannot be here if we're planning on bringing fans back. Bring in any serious general manager, name some dudes, and promote Finn/Riccardi. It says that in here.
All right, we're on the way.
Yeah.
Step one, check.
Number two, bring Mark Cuban back. On the business side, in whatever capacity he wants. CEO, COO can largely be just like an ornamental title. Whatever. He needs to be around. He is a rare organization head that has positive sentiment. Rick can do the arena stuff and be the figurehead, CEO, or move over to COO. I don't care. Mark needs to be here.
Well, and this could be a tentative check, right? The reporting coming out in the last 24 hours is that Mark is very much pushing. One, he's been talking to Patrick Dumont more frequently. Mm-hmm. Two, he's pushing for Dennis Lindsey to come back. Dennis Lindsey, former Utah Jazz general manager, was here in advisory capacity. I forget the exact title, but he was here in the front office. He had sway.
He was making decisions.
He was making decisions. He's very smart. Not a bad idea whatsoever. But
I have a slight relationship with Dennis Lindsey from he went on the Spain and Saudi Arabia trip with us.
Okay.
To the UAE. And great guy. Love Dennis Lindsey. I think he'd be overqualified.
Look, that Jazz team didn't win a ring, but he built a very good team. And that was his roster, which, the Mavs put the sword at that team's throat.
Yeah,
but,
Luka killed him, but
he's smart to do that. But so the point is that this could be in the works. And, theoretically, if you are Patrick Dumont and you are still operating with your, hey, I still don't totally know this business, who should I listen to? Well, it stands to reason that he might listen to the first guy Nico Harrison tried to push out. Yeah. If you know now, I shouldn't listen to this dude. Maybe I should go back to the other guy and say, all right, what should I have been doing because I was wrong? I don't know. We don't know, but it's not hard to read some tea leaves there.
And that's the question I have is, does he truly understand why Nico did that at this point? Because
I don't know.
My understanding of it, my opinion of it is that he came up with the trading Luka idea long con that eventually played out because Mark tried to jump in and say, I'm still in charge at the beginning. That definitely pissed Nico off. You can run with that.
We should pause here too, okay? Like, we are not talking about this like a normal general manager firing a guy who just made a bad choice. Because set aside the choice, set aside the Doncic trade for a second. I'm not going to get you in hot water. I'm not going to make you say. I'm not going to make you say anything that's been done on other podcasts. We're not going to do that. But this is somebody from the public things that are out there, right? Go Google Casey Smith and Nico Harrison and see how Casey Smith, who is not only very respected in the Dallas Mavericks, but just won the Trainer of the Year award with the New York Knicks. Extremely good at his job. Go see how Nico Harrison relieved that guy of his duties. You can look at the stuff publicly, or if you're me and you have a close personal friend who worked there or other friends who did, this is not a person, and I'm going to put this delicately, this is not a person who had a lot of fans of him as a human being in this organization for how he treated people, how he conducted his business, how he operated a workplace. We are talking about this in these ways, and this is getting discussed by other media outlets besides us, because this is how a person who came into a situation from the outside, this house was built before him. This house exists after him. That's how it's no different than us working at D Magazine. This magazine was here before us. It will be here after us. You work somewhere and you need to treat people like a human being. And there were a lot of instances, and you could say what you choose to say, but there were a lot of instances and a lot of people where he was not doing that. And so when this feels a little bit bold and a little bit more strident than just, oh, the guy made a bad trade, on to the next general manager. It's because the way that this person operated behind the scenes to human beings in a workplace, to an institution that's been around a lot longer than him, it's not acceptable conduct.
This was the natural and obvious conclusion, a really nasty split with Nico Harrison and the Mavs organization. I would say even before the Luka trade.
That's a very important point.
Yeah. And I think the motivations behind what led to the Luka trade are not obvious things that people can see. I think one of the key ones is him realistically looking at the next summer, that contract negotiation with Luka, and going, I'm about to have no power over this human being or anybody that's in his orbit. And he could not live with that.
No.
And so he convinced.
That's why a lot of people who have been with this team for a generation are suddenly not here anymore. Yep. Not so subtly. It was gradual. But go look at the names that you've heard for a long time relation to this team and ask how many are still around and ask when they left.
Yep. Third thing that was on my to-dos to win back the MFFL is trade Anthony Davis for immediate draft compensation. 2025 picks are as high as possible. First or second pick, we're trying to get Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper. And that's assuming you're going to bundle whatever your lottery results are.
Yeah.
It's funny that I put Cooper Flagg in here.
Check-ish.
Yeah. Do not re-sign Kyrie Irving. Paying a 34-year-old guard that routinely misses time, $40+ million a year, is not going to help your situation. If he wants to opt in, that's fine. You're always welcome here, but we can't offer a long-term deal. Best case scenario is he rehabs with us and we send him to a contender next February or March. That's honorable. Number 5, explore trading any player that has a birthday that starts with 19.
Except Dwight Powell.
Of course, yeah. Maybe Dwight Powell's the next GM. I'd actually love that.
Great dude.
I'd be totally on board with that. It's not a fire sale, and we are not trying to tank. We are building around Lively, Christie, lottery pick number 1 and lottery pick number 2. If Kidd doesn't want to be a part of that, I respect that. Thanks, and we'll see you. And this is before he re-signed his contract, right? Yep. I named some free agents you can pursue that were on the really quite younger side. Kuminga, Miles Turner, Naz Reid, John Collins, those guys. Obviously, they went elsewhere. Next 6 months, invest in the arena. People do not want to hear about a new arena right now. They want a better experience at the arena they're currently going to be potentially spending their money at. It can be mainly facade and showy upgrades, but you have to show a willingness to give back to the fans. Seems kind of obvious. Invest heavily in storytelling, brand-enhancing, tradition-rich, prestige messaging. Mavs Hall of Fame, long-form docs that reminds people of the good times. Things that message towards things won't always be this bad.
Well, that gets a lot harder when your VP of content goes and works at E-Magazine. So sorry, guys.
Gonna be tough to pull that one off. Those are my 8 steps to win back the MFFLs.
These are good steps.
That happened in March 7th of this season. We're getting there. Now the timeline of when you should have done this is kind of in your
you should have done that at like Tesla speeds. We're doing it at horse and buggy speeds, but you're ambling along the highway.
Because I do not envy my friend Matt Riccardi or Michael Finley moving forward, operating in this weirdness of, okay, so I'm doing what the next GM wants me to do now.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a very interesting Michael Finley conversation where I feel like there's a world in which a lot of people are already heaping assumptions onto him and who he is and are going to do that even more over the next year. And that just sucks.
Yeah. And every day that you don't answer the phone call or you don't have the number to call the GM that can potentially give you a couple of lottery picks, you're missing an opportunity. It just is what it is. It's one of those things that I get irrationally upset about in fantasy football when people don't respond.
I'm in multiple leagues with you. You get very aggro.
Yeah, I do. It's silliness. It's just nonsense. It's just
we all engage in this thing.
Yeah, we all agree we want to be here and have fun doing this.
Might as well
come to the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so I'm not saying they don't have those numbers. I'm just saying it's going to be difficult for them, and they're being put in a weird position. And if this is wrong today, wrong enough to fire somebody 11 games into a season, then it was wrong enough 9 months ago.
Yeah, but all you can do now is just hope lessons have been learned. That's it. That's the only option.
That's really it. That's really it. And I'm glad it happened. I try not to wish ill on anybody on planet Earth that I've ever met or ever crossed ways with, but you can't pull off the worst trade in sports history and cost your franchise hundreds of millions of dollars and live through it.
And make the fans angry and treat people badly.
Yep.
And
you just can't do it. It can't. I don't want to live in that society. So put it on the official record. Whoever's keeping the official record, put it on there. You can't do it.
Can't do it. We'll talk a lot more about the actual forward face of things now when Josh Bowe comes on the show a bit. What else is going on in town?
So Robert Tiffin was on last week, our guest, phenomenal guest.
It's awesome.
Love his stuff. Love reading his stuff. Stars have not changed my confidence meter a ton. Still feeling a little shaky, but we have a new hero.
Yeah.
Wyatt Johnston, 10 points in the 6 November games thus far. Are we seeing the emergence of a superstar as he's keeping the early Stars season on life support and pumping blood into the heart?
I mean, the first step is doing what he's doing, which is this team is banged up as hell. Their new system, new coach, defense has been a little shaky. You have to the first thing a star does, forget the number of points in games, forget the multi-point game streak that he had within that, that run of games we just talked about. You just have to be the dude who says we're not losing tonight. Mm-hmm. Not happening. And for a 22-year-old kid to be doing that, that's special stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Sean Shapiro, Robert's compatriot with us over at D Magazine, among many, many other places, very prolific guy. Sean wrote and asked the question yesterday. He asked if Wyatt Johnston could be the best center in the history of this team. Now, Sean Shapiro, for those in the know, was the best beat writer on this team before he moved over to Michigan and went more national, and now still does some star stuff with us and the good folks over at DLS. But Sean's been around a while. Sean is not prone to hyperbole. Mm-hmm. Sean is zero bullshit. If Sean is asking this question, this is a real question. And naturally, your mind goes one place: best center in franchise history. Who's got the statue in front of the building? Well, we're gonna drop some knowledge on you from Sean's piece on the site on Tuesday. In Mike Modano's 20-year-old season, he had 64 points. In Wyatt Johnston's 20-year-old season, he had 65 points.
That's more.
And that's more. And Mike Modano's age 21 season, he had 77 points. In Wyatt Johnston's age 21 season, he had 71 points. Pretty close. Mm-hmm. In Mike Modano's age 22 season, he broke through. He scored 93 points.
Damn.
As of the 16-game mark before last night, in his age 22 season, Wyatt Johnston on pace for a 102-point season.
Woo.
And that's with a skill set that Mike Modano had to learn to play defense. Wyatt Johnston's already a two-way guy.
Yeah.
And what that does, if he's we grew up in an era of hockey where who were the Stars tussling with? It was Detroit and it was
Avalanche were up there. Joe Sakic, Forsberg,
Yes.
Patrick Roy.
Right, but specifically
Avalanche.
those first two names are important here. It was Sakic and Forsberg, and it was Yzerman and Fedorov.
Mm-hmm.
And the Stars didn't really break through until it was Modano and Nieuwendyk. They had those two guys, and Roope Hintz is one of them. But I would dare say, as good as Roope Hintz is, in an ideal world, if Roope Hintz is your second center, this team was good enough the last few years to win the Cup. Let's not pretend that Roope Hintz can't be your top line center. Anchored a lot of really ridiculously good lines. Great player, one of the best two-way dudes in the league. If Wyatt Johnston takes a jump above that and suddenly he's the top center and Roope is number 2, you're cooking with gas, dude. And this team already had a lot of outs, a lot of really good things. It is far and away the most competently run team in Dallas. But it just creates that much more headroom for you if Wyatt is this good, this young.
Yeah.
So
you can't be hitting on young talent that is so obviously deserves to be there and is emerging. Like that's a trick in any sport. Like,
and they've done this at spots that you shouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
The only dude of this crop of young stars that was in that slot you should get him is Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah.
That was an early top 5 pick. Wyatt Johnston is a late first-round draft pick. Jason Robertson is a second-round draft pick. Jake Ottinger is a late first-round draft pick. Thomas Harley is a late first-round draft pick. Logan Stankoven, who became the make-weight of the Mikko Rantanen trade, late first-round draft pick. That's why Jim Nill is so good at this. Not just the best at his job now, one of the best to ever do it in the city in any sport. Because he finds guys that you just be happy if they're NHL contributors. And they become stars. And that's how this team has kept. These fantasy leagues that we're in together, we play in dynasty leagues. We all like the idea of I'm going to win now and win later. I'm going to get my rings now, but keep the team young. It's so hard to do, much less in a fake game. Forget the real world. But this guy has continually moved the window along, even though everybody's young. Robert talked about last week. They got a several-year window at this peak. And then there's still probably a window after this peak, too, because Wyatt Johnston's 22 and Jason Robertson's 25 or 26 and Ottinger's in the same range, and Harley is 24, and they keep doing this. But all of that is to say that Johnston might be the crown jewel of these dudes now. And that's really cool and really exciting. And, it's a fun thing to watch.
Yeah. No, it makes me excited about the Stars. In general, he's phenomenal, dude. Whenever there's a Wyatt Johnston clip that's on Twitter, I know I'm in for a good time. Because that dude's badass. Absolutely love it.
Before we go further, some housekeeping for how the show works. We record on a Wednesday. It goes live on a Thursday. When you guys see it's a Thursday. The reason I say this is we recorded last week, the day before Marshawn Kneeland died. He was 24 years old. He took his own life. So we did not have a chance to discuss this. We feel it's only right that we at least comment on this because a human being is no longer here. It's a very sad story. A lot of really thoughtful people talk about this. I feel like I don't have the perspective a lot of the time to say anything worthwhile to the conversation. I haven't experienced this in my own life of somebody close to me who has had this happen. You unfortunately have. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah, no, I mean, you shouldn't feel that way. Number one, you're a human. You deal with mortality, and you've seen people pass. Like everybody's experience is different, but eerily the same when you deal with this stuff. I didn't know Marshawn Kneeland necessarily, but I do know what it's like to be the 40th or 50th guy on an NFL roster because I work for the Cowboys and I dealt with a lot of those dudes, and some of them I'm still friends with. And I do know what it's like to be close to somebody who deals with depression, who deals with substance abuse nearly their entire lives. I had 2 older brothers, stepbrothers growing up, and a lot of the reason why I'm the way I am is because I learned from them what not to do. And they struggled with depression since I can remember and substance abuse problems. And the middle brother, Zach, I fell out of touch with him for, I don't know, it's been a long time. And I found out last year that he had taken his own life the year before via an overdose. So I don't say that to say that I know exactly what Marshawn's family is going through. And I mean, rest in peace, man. I can't imagine. He had his whole career ahead of him.
His life.
Like,
he had a
so
pregnant girlfriend.
Yeah. It's so insane. But I think Jeff Kavanaugh said it pretty well. Mental illness does not discriminate. But I would say this. It's never as bad as you think it is. Times are never, ever as bad as you think they are or as they feel. Whenever you are down, you're in that really bad place. You think the only thing that can make you feel better is either a substance or to try the exit door. Things are never as bad as you think they are. Just like they're never as high as you think they are when things are going perfect. And there's always a way back, no matter what you've done. No matter, you break into a pharmacy and try and rob a pharmacy. That's how bad my brothers got at one point. And there was years where I didn't see them because they were in juvie. Like, that was part of my life growing up. And so there's always a road back. And if people could see how it affects the people around you after you're gone, you would not even consider it or think about it. You really wouldn't. It would not be a thought in your head. But you're not in control of your mind a lot of times whenever that's happening. So it's not like you have a good read on the situation or what's going on or how to handle it. We've come so far in mental health and treatment and people that were there to help you nowadays. And I know it's the last thing people want whenever they're in that hole, but there's so many resources out there. And if you saw what your family went through afterwards, you wouldn't even consider it. And it is never as bad as it seems, and there is always a path back. Specifically with your family, they will always love you and forgive you, no matter what you do. They just will. That's the weird thing about people, man. They will always love their family. They will always figure out a way to make their situation work for them and live through it. And it's that broke my heart, man. Second round pick, pregnant girlfriend was.
He just had the biggest moment of his NFL career on Monday. Scored a touchdown.
He really did.
Yeah.
That's so difficult, and I understand why people were so rattled by it. And
the part too that always hit me was just you saw so many people talk about how just he was always smiling. He had a big grin on his face, and there's a lot about this that I don't know, but I do know I'm you know me a long time. I'm generally a pretty positive dude. I'm always smiling, and I'm always probably to a fault if I'm going through shit. People don't know because I just smile, and I'm always trying to see how everybody else is doing. I'm always chatting, but like you probably would not be able to pick up on most of the times when I'm not in a good place. And thankfully, I'm doing okay, and I have not struggled with the things that Marshawn Kneeland struggled with. But all of that is to say, there are people who want to hear you and let you in, and sometimes putting up the brave face isn't the actual thing to do. It's to be vulnerable, let them know, because Solomon Thomas, the Cowboys have two guys on this team who have been affected by this directly by losing siblings to suicide. Dak Prescott and Solomon Thomas. And Solomon and his parents run a foundation called the Defensive Line. Wonderful human beings, and Solomon Thomas's tribute to him really kind of hit home. And what he's writing there was just if you knew how many people cared about you, and if the implication being, of course, like if you just asked for any of those people to listen to you, they would have,
absolutely.
And that's all you can do is just lean on people around you. And for those of us who are on the outside of that, just check in on people and ask how you're doing. And sometimes the people you don't know are struggling are the ones who might be needing that check in the most, might mean the most to them.
Yeah. It's so sad, man. Thoughts are with his family, with his girlfriend, obviously, and that's just I don't know how you get to that place because that's not how I'm wired, but I've seen it happen up close, and it's so painful. But there are people that care about you. You're never alone. You're never ever alone.
Yeah.
And no matter what it is, man, if you gotta call your grandma, like that's okay. That's okay. There's someone there that cares about you deeply, and it's NFL has had some really, really traumatic issues like this. reminded of Javon Belcher when that happened, and that was just so shocking, dude.
Yeah.
And I know football is violent, and it's a violent sport, and it creates there's a lot of side effects. And so I just wish these dudes knew how many people looked up to them.
Yeah.
Particularly those dudes that are like the 30th, 40th man on a roster. They think they're not important. They're not making the X amount of money. They haven't delivered on whatever their pick was. Like, you just can get in so many different ways, and so much talk around sports is negative.
Yeah, and football is the ultimate warrior culture, right? You play. You just get out there and you play. And you don't ask questions and you don't complain. You just do it. And it's only natural that some of that's going to bleed into the rest of your life if this is the game you played since you were a kid.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's a tough one, man. But never alone. It's never as bad as it seems. I promise. Yeah, I promise, guys. So my dudes, hey, check on each other. Be honest with one another. It's okay. You know the group of dudes. I consider Pi in the group of dudes that I could tell if things aren't going okay.
Likewise.
But you know your group of dudes. You can tell if things aren't going okay. And I don't want a young man's life to be that way. And as a dude that's getting older and getting, approaching 40, I feel like it's part of my responsibility to show younger men how to be men. And that is a huge part of it. You gotta be able to say it's not okay right now. Number one thing, it takes so much freaking courage and so scary to ask for help. Yeah. So scary. I get that. But check on your guys, honestly. Check on your guys. That's all I can say.
We'll be back with some lighter fare with Josh Bowe. We talk Nico. Now let's talk life after Nico. We got Josh Bowe here. You know him from Mavs Moneyball. You know him from Pod Maverick. You know him from D Magazine, The Strong Side. What's going on, dude?
It's going good. It feels weird to be doing a podcast in person.
I know.
People in front of me.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing like 80 podcasts a year for the last 5 years in front of my computer with Kirk.
Yeah.
So this is a strange feeling.
How often do you see your co-host, Kirk Henderson, in person?
In person, at least once a year, because he likes to get us together before the season starts.
That's nice.
I ran into him at the Dallas Zoo like a couple of weeks ago, like totally he was leaving, I was coming in, taking his kid, I'm taking my kid in. But yeah, we still see each other.
They're moving all the gorillas out.
That's right. They are.
That's big zoo news.
Yeah,
that is big zoo news.
Bowenzi, Shauna, Zola, the whole crew, dude.
My wife's a big gorilla. The baby gorillas were hers during the pandemic. That was like our
nice.
We can't leave the house, but we need to get out of the house. Let's go to the zoo. It's open air, and there's not any people there.
Smart.
And that's when the baby gorillas were there, and they were like, "Oh, these are my gorillas now." So there's an emotional bond between.
I'm surprised you didn't know this yet. I'm surprised your wife didn't tell you the gorillas were moving.
I'm scared to tell her now. I'm just going to see if she finds out.
That might not end well for you.
Yeah, I know.
Here's what did end well for you. So on Friday, you ran a piece. We wrote a piece. It was really great. We published it. We titled it, "It is already time for the Mavericks to pivot to the future." And when I was tweeting it that day, I was gassing you up like I like to do. And I said, Josh just wrote the piece that we're going to be talking about in 3 weeks. And then about 9 hours later, Memphis just rolled this team, and everybody was already on the same wavelength as you. And before we get to the whole Nico of it all, because he paid for this whole mess, just how rough are things on the court right now? So we get a little bit of a baseline for what the non-off-court fury things are. Just this thing that we're seeing, how bad is it?
It's pretty bad. I mean, they have, like I said in the piece, they have an offense that would be mediocre back in like 2005 when teams didn't know how to space the floor or shoot. They would make those teams blush with their offense right now. So like that part's bad. The defense looks better on paper, but I don't know what you guys are seeing. But to me, it feels a little Paper Tiger-esque where it's the numbers look good, but when I'm watching it, I'm just like, they are a 1 3-point avalanche away in a quarter from losing a game, and that's kind of what happened in Milwaukee. Like I felt like they've had some moments like that Houston game. I thought they played pretty well, and they've been playing hard. Like that's kind of the good news is this, so they haven't really given up.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of a trademark for Kidd at this point because he's been through some pretty bad seasons, despite the finals and the Western Conference Finals appearances. But the team never feels like it's giving up, so that part's good. But offensively, it feels hard to build an offense this bad on purpose. Like I That's the part that I don't understand. And I tried my best to be optimistic over the summer and be like, because it's a weird team. And I was like, I just want to see what it looks like before we get the pitchforks out all the way. And yeah, they just don't have enough shooting. They don't have enough playmaking. I mean, Brandon Williams is their best guard with the ball in his hands right now until Kyrie's better. And that's awesome for Brandon Williams, who I think is a tremendous story. But that can't be him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when you're talking about building a roster, it can't be this guy that you got G League guy.
Well, it's not even like they're leaning into the G League guy. It's not like he's playing 30 minutes a night. And
No,
they
he's still
even
not playing it. I would play him 48 minutes a night if I.
Yeah, right. They haven't even acknowledged the very bad reality at hand. They are still degrees away from that. That's how rough this has gotten here.
Yeah, they can't create 3-point shots. The 3-point shots they create, they can't hit outside of a few players. They're weirdly not a good paint team because, like, just because you're big doesn't guarantee you paint points. You have to get into the paint. And I think what we've talked about before, at least I've talked about on our site and elsewhere, is they just don't have guys that can touch the paint with a live dribble. So it's like, it's great they have Anthony Davis, it's great they have Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford and all these guys, but if you're not shifting a defense around, you're not going to get easy buckets. Like, that's kind of the point of basketball, is you have to make the defense make a decision. The defense doesn't have to make a lot of decisions when they're guarding Dallas because there's just not a lot of threats.
Yep.
Yeah, just attacking contraries how every other team in the NBA is trying to attack.
Yeah.
like defying modern basketball.
Right.
Like, I'm actually not going to make you rotate at all, and I'm just going to get this shot off, and I'm going to be happy with it. I think it was D'Angelo Russell signing, in which I was like, oh, yeah, that's just like my friends whenever they get the weight vest and start walking. I see a midlife crisis. And I can spot that from a mile away. D'Angelo Russell is going to fix this all.
Yeah.
Moment in the summer, I was like, oh, no, dude. This is we're way gone.
Yeah. I wrote our thing about D'Angelo Russell. And
Yeah, you were for us about D'Angelo
I
Russell.
know. I was trying to look at it like, because there's obviously like good and bad, and they're obviously seeing the bad. I mean, the fact that Kidd wouldn't even start him to start the season, when you consider their guard rotation, like, I would rather start the 18-year-old who's never played point guard. It should have been like, it's over. Like, it's over. It kind of felt like the Christian Wood thing where they brought in Christian Wood, and he's already coming off the bench before the season starts because Kidd doesn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
And that ties into the Nico stuff. But, there's obviously a disconnect there between what coaching staff wants and organization wanted.
Kid wants to make everybody that isn't a point guard a point guard, and then if you actually play point guard, he's like, I'm good.
How bad do you think you must feel if your coach is one of the best to ever do it, and he just looks at you and that's your position, and he's just like, no,
not good.
And
enough.
he just goes, he goes to the next guy, and he's just like, I'd rather you just do whatever and try it than let this guy who devoted his life to this. He's been playing this position since he was like 9 years old in AAU. I'd rather you just fart around and try stuff than let you do your life's work. Like, that must, I know that's not how he means it, but man, that must be rough.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like, what does this team do well offensively? Like, what's something they can hang their hat on? And I just don't see it right now. Other than they play hard. But it's the NBA. A lot of teams play hard. Like, it's got to be more than that.
Yeah. So, short-term roadmap now until the trade deadline. I'm gonna give you the keys.
Okay.
What would you do? What do you think should be done? What needs to happen before the trade deadline?
Okay. If I had the keys, the first thing I would have done after firing Nico is I would have called Anthony Davis and Clutch and had a meeting with them. Scheduled a separate meeting with Clay and his reputation. Walked in and been like, sorry, this didn't work. We apologize. It's not your fault. This is not what you signed up for. Anthony Davis did not ask to be traded for Luka Doncic. Klay Thompson did not ask to play for a team without Luka Doncic. What do you want to do? And if Anthony Davis says, I want to be here, Dallas is my new home, then maybe you go, okay, let's see what we can do with that. But if AD's like, yeah, let's get somewhere else, you give us a list of teams. We'll go to those teams. We'll see what we can get. And even if we have to take a loss, I think you make right by those players because it wasn't their fault. And I still think this is a relationship league.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to have any semblance of building a new culture around this organization that is in a positive light, I don't think you can do wrong by some of these vets that had nothing to do with this, because then, that goes around to agents and that goes around the league, and it's like people don't want to do
half
business.
the team is Clutch.
Right. Clutch runs the league.
Paul,
make them make Clutch happy is kind of what the bullet point for almost every team. So I would do that, and I would go and make sure those guys are probably not on the team by February, Clay and AD specifically. I would look at Daniel Gafford as well. He has a contract I think is perfectly fine to be traded. I think the way they structured it, he can be traded like now, if I remember right. So those would be the three that I think they need to be off the team. No, through no fault of their own, no disrespect to them at all. But just like we need to move the franchise forward. We have like 8 centers, like Daniel Gafford. Like, I mean, if you watch Moussa Cisse, he's like my favorite player right now. Like, I will watch Moussa Cisse play 30, 35 minutes a night. Like, Gafford, go help a contender. Just do that. And that'll probably help get your lottery position as well, as much as I love Cisse. So that would be the first thing I would do. Like, you gotta take the organization and say, this is now the Cooper Flag organization.
Yeah.
Get the players on board with that. Let them know. Be upfront with them. Be upfront with the representation and those vets and be like, where do you want to go? Don't try to like lowball teams or make it weird. Like, I think you just got to move on, even if that means you have to take it in the shorts in a trade. Like, oh, we didn't get, 3 picks back for Anthony Davis. Like, okay, like, what are you going to do?
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, you've made, the bed's already been made. You got to kind of have to lie in it for a little bit. So that's kind of what I would do going forward. And then you hope for the lottery luck. I think you can build, the Kyrie thing is interesting. I've seen some people want to say trade him. Some people don't. Me personally, I'm not a fan of the teardowns where everything's tore down. Like, I think about the
Sixers process.
Sixers. Yes, build through the draft 100%, but you need to have some adults in the room to just keep things from totally falling apart into like chaos. And I think Kyrie also could, and this is crazy when you think about where his reputation was 5 years ago.
Yeah, we are here with that.
And I want him teaching Cooper Flag how to do crossovers and stuff like that. Like, I want him imparting he's one of the most skilled players to ever play. And you've got this team with Cooper Flag, PJ Washington, and even like a guy like Brandon Williams. Like, get Kyrie rubbing off on these guys in the good ways. And I would keep him around for that veteran leadership if he wants to. Mm-hmm. If Kyrie comes to you and is like, hey,
I didn't sign up for this either.
It's not you. It's the situation. I don't want to be here anymore. Then you work that way. But I wouldn't go into this saying Kyrie's got to be off the team, because I still think you need one guy that can kind of steward the franchise as you're transitioning into this.
Not only that, but that one guy can run an offense. And the development, right. Yeah. So in addition to the off-court development of Cooper Flag, the on-court development is he needs more off-ball reps where you're not asking him to be something he's not. You need somebody to actually run the offense.
Right.
You're not just having an adult in the room with Kyrie Irving. You're having an adult at the controls of the basketball operation too.
An all-NBA player when he's healthy, and he's right. And I don't think it's a coincidence. Like, you guys have been watching Cooper the last couple of games since they've transitioned from this Coop point thing.
Yep.
He's looked better. Even if the numbers aren't better, he looks better.
A lot more comfortable.
The process feels better. You like the shots that he's getting. I feel like he's been more assertive and more confident in himself when he's been playing with a point guard. And I would just focus on that. And if you want to sprinkle in point Coop for the rest of the season, that's fine. Maybe do it against bench units where there's not as much pressure. Starting against the other team's 5 best players with point Coop might be not conducive to like actually helping him. But that's the part where Jace Kidd's the coach. I'm not the coach. But that's kind of what I would do. I think you got to move the vets that you can move, refocus around Flag, keep Kyrie if he wants to stay. And then every decision you make has to be with Cooper Flag in mind, like going forward. Like, what would be best for this org if this player moved? Is that best for Cooper Flag? And that's kind of the way they have to think about
There's a pretty easy out with the Kyrie situation already. Just, hey, man, don't rush back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't need to play this season. Yeah.
This season's kind of lost. I don't want you to play before you're 100,000% healthy and ready to do it.
Yep.
That means 2026. Not a problem with us.
Right.
Let's get at it next year. Like, that's such an easy conversation, I think, for, I mean, assuming he has ties to the organization that aren't Nico Harrison.
That's a question that'll need to be answered.
So, obviously, we are at this junction of the Mavs franchise where there's some relief after yesterday. Of the decision finally came down. It was inevitable, I think, for people that are tapped in and know what they're looking at. The next phase for me is, can the fan base separate Adelson Dumont from Nico Harrison and genuinely buy back in as long as they are still as in the scene as Patrick Dumont has been? What's your feeling about being able to separate the ownership group, who has blood on their hands in this situation, a lot of it, from what they feel like they just cut off the part that was affecting us and negatively bringing down this basketball team? Is it that simple, or do you think people are going to have a hard time separating that?
I think they'll have a hard time, but I think the hard part with Nico, like the thing with Nico was he was removable. You can't remove the ownership.
No.
Like you just can't. You can fire the GM, you can't fire the owner. And I think just look at the Cowboys. Like Cowboys fans still show up. They still spend money on the team. They still love the team, despite what Jerry Jones has done for the last 12 years or so, where they haven't had the playoff success that you would expect. And people complain about Jerry all the time, but they still show up. Maybe it's not apples to oranges because the Adelsons and Dumonts are not like, Jerry kind of has at least some skins on the wall in terms of the Super Bowls. Like,
well, I think the other difference too that's really key is just that like Jerry, whatever. I think that as bad as this trade would have been, if they didn't have the PR response to it that they did in those early weeks, I think this would be very different right now. People would still be really angry, and Nico still probably would have fired because just on a basketball parent level, forget all the other stuff, you can't do this. But Jerry lets people say and do whatever they want if he does something wrong because Jerry gets that makes him money. So he is fine being yelled at. These people made choices, and they were not fine being yelled at, and they took it out on the people who are supporting them financially, a.k.a. the fans. And so when you're kicking fans out of the arena and when you're silencing dissent and when you're blasting the music as loud as you can, like it was interesting the other day when, Cooper Flagg's mom noted like they're chanting Fire Nico during our team's free throws. It's the only time it's quiet. So when else are they going to do it?
Right.
So that's the big difference is that the Cowboys, like Jerry, he'll let you do and say whatever you want. If you don't like it, cool, you're talking about him, fine. He doesn't take it personally. This team took a lot of this stuff really personally, and they let everybody know, and I think that poisoned the well so much further than even something this catastrophically bad would have done on its own.
No, yeah, I'm with you. And I think that will be lingering, and there's nothing. I don't know what you can do to change that because aside from getting a new ownership group, which we know is kind of unfeasible.
I just think it has to be real change, right? Like
you gotta remove yourself from the situation, which means staff up
right
as hard as you can with legitimate people that have done this work before, whether it is a Dennis Lindsay, whether it is kid sliding over, whether it is whatever. You have to remove yourself from the spotlight. Like the best ownership groups are the ones that I don't know the name of. Quite honestly,
right?
As a sports fan,
yeah,
those are the best ones. Like takes me a while to remember Tom Gallardi's name for the Stars, right? Because he's not always just hands in the shit, messing stuff up, right? I think that's the only way that they get out of this clean.
Yeah, I think so. And it looks like I saw they hired Gina Miller to be
Gina's
in
great.
charge of PR, and that's someone like who has experience in the industry, is well respected across not just DFW but the media scene.
Yeah,
like someone that knows what she's doing and has a reputation. That kind of actually was nice. Like when I saw that pop up in my inbox, I had no idea. I was like, oh, like Gina's great. Like that sounds like maybe she should have been here earlier, like a little earlier. Maybe they're realizing that. Maybe that's part of this process. Is maybe they're going to get people in that actually have the skins on the wall and have that like level of respect and authenticity. Because that's going to be tough. Like that Dumont letter was. That was rough in terms of like authenticity, but that's gonna I think fans understand you can't get rid of them, so that's why the ire was so much at Nico. You can actually fire coaches, you can trade players, you can get rid of the GM, so that at least should give them a buffer. And now they're in like the proven mode, so I think they've got a window to get fans back now. But if they blow it, then I don't know what happens after that. But they've got a window. They didn't have a window before.
Yeah. So. Friend of mine, Matt Riccardi, is now interim GM for the Mavs alongside co-interim GM. That's a long title. Michael Finley, Mavs legend, of course. What's a win for them for the rest of this season? If we get to May and everyone's like, you know what, guys? Good job. What happened in this time frame?
I mean, if they can find a way to get value from their vets and get the direction of the franchise moving forward around Flag. The one thing that I don't know is if they're interim, how much are they going to be allowed to do? Because if you think about it, okay, if we need to move the vets and we need to focus around the young guys, are you going to bring in a GM that feels the same way? Like, are you going to let someone else, what's the Bill Parcells thing, shop at the grocery,
buy your groceries,
and make the meal?
Yeah.
So like, are they going to be allowed to make big moves that shifts the direction of the franchise before you even bring in the guy that's going to be their boss, which feels a little weird, which is why, again, they should have done all this in the offseason.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
You get out ahead of this, which they didn't do, and now they're here. So I guess in the meantime, it would just, barring that they're not able to make those decisions until someone is in place, I think it's just keeping things normal. Like that sounds weird, but like just don't mess anything up.
Yeah, you don't
Like,
want any back channel leaks from
Right.
AD's team
Yes,
or Kyrie's
try to keep
team
it
or
professional.
PJ.
Yeah, keep everyone as happy as you can, because
Yeah.
I think there's a window now where everyone's got to have the pressure off them, and not just
Yeah.
front office, players, coaches, training staff, even salespeople. Like everyone's got to be like,
Yeah.
"Whew." So use that to be like, let's be professional. Let's calm down.
Yeah.
I think if they can start building, they could probably start building the culture back up again. Obviously, whoever they bring in is going to want to have their influence as well. But that would be the thing that I think would be, okay, this was good. Like we've moved the franchise past this into something where we feel like it can be positive, even if there's no on-court moves.
Yeah.
Mhm. In your estimation, I don't know how much you've looked at this year's draft, but I keep hearing there's 3 dudes that are worth, wrecking a season for to go get. Boozer and Peterson and DeBanza, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
haven't watched any BYU games yet.
I'm not a college guy as
Yeah.
much, but yeah.
Do you think that's the right path?
Absolutely.
Try and lock in a top 3 pick.
Yeah. I mean, there's no guarantee, and we've seen the teams ahead of them, like Utah and some other teams that have been tanking for a while, and they still don't get that top 5 or top 3 player that they want in the draft. So with the lottery odds now, there's no guarantee. But it's their last pick till 2031. They have that's a non-negotiable part for this, and that's the part where I hope Matt Riccardi and I hope Michael Finley, who I think got their teeth in the front office through the draft, so I think they understand how valuable the draft is.
Right.
Because Riccardi was leading a lot of the Nets draft stuff when he was there, when they had a lot of good drafts before they pivoted to the Kyrie, KD experiment. Finley was very involved in the draft after kind of the Dirk era started to end.
Yeah.
Smith Jr., I know he was very influential in like scouting and that. So like those guys.
Riccardi did run their drafts.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they know the draft. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming they know this is probably the right course too. Can they pitch that to ownership? Can they pitch that to leadership? Whoever they bring in, is that going to be on the same page? So I would hope that's where the direction they lean. Because again, they don't have their pick till 2031.
Right.
And not only that, they're giving you those picks to their conference rivals, like the Thunder. The Thunder,
It's not
the
great,
Rockets,
Josh.
and the Spurs
It's not
are
great.
potentially going to have awesome picks in the next 3 years. So like you gotta make this one count. Like if they can't get a good pick this summer.
The flip side, though, is that, and I was talking about this with a friend of mine this morning, like if they do hit on this 26 pick and you have Cooper and you have that, and we're going to, we need some happy vibes. We're going to assume Derek Lively's body holds up, and you have Derek Lively and you have a PJ Washington who's a great role player who could be here for a long time. It's obviously not close to what they had 2 years ago. It's obviously not close to being fixed, but there are a lot of bad NBA teams who would kill for that to build around, even if you don't control your picks. Like this is not totally hopeless.
No, and that 1.8% chance.
Yeah, that's the only reason why. But
but no, you're right. I mean, if they get a top 3 pick, one of those 3 guys you mentioned, I could absolutely see this team being, maybe they're not back to the playoffs next season, but there's at least like a pulse and like something can be
they're fun and they're young.
Right. And you can get the fans back into it, building around something that they can grow to love. Now, of course, fans did do that and that got taken away from them. So there's going to be a little, PTSD from that.
Yes.
But that's the only way. I mean, that's the only way. And especially with the apron stuff, if they can get 2 studs under contract for the foreseeable future, for the next 3 to 4 years on like cost controlled contracts, that's the way to cheat the system with the CBA right now.
Yeah.
The whole complication of interim GMs making trades for someone that's eventually going to run the team. It's not like you can like text Dennis Lindsay every time someone calls you and be like, hey, bud, I know you're going to be here in 7 months. What would you do hypothetically in this trade scenario? That leads me to think, and I've seen a couple reports that Jason Kidd is wanting to slide off the bench and into the front office at some point, and maybe be GM, president, whatever you want to call it. That next GM is actually already here, and he's going to help these guys along. And I don't know what Kidd's aptitude is as a general manager. I haven't seen it, but that's the only construction that makes sense to me right now, because it is, I think, easier to find an above-average head coach than it is to find an above-average GM. Especially in this scenario, in which you're going to have dudes making decisions day to day that are going to affect the next guy. How would you feel about if into this season, Jason Kidd slides off the bench into the front office? I can't tell you who the head coach is. I don't know off the top of my head, but fill in the 18th best head coach in basketball.
Man, that's interesting. I want to say when he went to the Nets, Kidd did, or was it with Milwaukee? That was part of like his power struggle. Was he wanted more? He wanted more control over the roster.
Yeah,
Nets. Wasn't that Was it Louis Frank? Is that dude's
Lawrence
name?
Frank?
Lawrence Frank. Yeah, I think that was part of the undoing with the Nets.
Yeah,
right?
so I think kids always wanted to maybe do this, judging by what he did in Brooklyn and then in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of aptitude, it's so hard to judge. It would be like a good PR move in terms of, I think Jason Kidd is a Mavericks legend, and I think there's still some fans, obviously there's a group of fans that really do not like Jason Kidd and would probably tear their hair out that he has more decisions over that. But his resume is his resume. Like, he's been a good coach in Dallas. Like, it's hard to argue that.
Yeah.
And he's made moves, like he has gotten stuff out of players that makes me think, okay, could this translate into making decisions with the talent? Like, you talk about the D'Angelo Russell thing you just said. He clearly does not want him to run point for him, and then when he has, he's looked awful. And so it's like, okay, maybe he knows.
If the two guys he doesn't like are Christian Wood and D'Angelo Russell, he's kind of on the right side of history so far.
Good start.
Bud.
You passed the first test of can you make talent evaluations.
Yeah.
So that part is, that part would be interesting, and it would also be a cleaner transition. It could probably get them started faster, because that's the thing I'm wondering. Like, if they're going to bring someone in from the outside, is that person coming in before the season's over? Do they have time to do that? Like, Dennis Lindsey has a job.
He's got a job, yeah.
Right.
So, like, you can't leave those jobs mid-season.
And I also don't think that, regardless of what else you do long term to change this roster, I don't know how Anthony Davis stays on this team at the end of the year, right? You kind of have to. The clock is ticking for him to be a viable asset at his age. So something's got to happen, and we don't know who's making the decisions or who those decisions affect the future. So if you are putting I don't know if it's a tinfoil hat, because there's probably some logic to it. If you're putting on the hat of what Mike is talking about here, well, if the call's coming from inside the house on the bench, then there is a little more cohesion.
Yeah. And then, of course, they could always spin it where a kid can be head of basketball ops or the president, and then maybe you bring Dennis Lindsey in the summer for the actual GM title. And then that way you can still kind of bring in the guy you want that you like, and Dennis Lindsey, who obviously has fans in the organization. It would not be still keep it within the family. Yeah.
I'm a fan of Dennis Lindsey.
It would not be the first time Dennis Lindsey has worked for this team and made some decisions that you would not think are necessarily in the scope of what his title suggests.
Yeah.
Put that out there. Just going to put that out there. For now, though, okay, Jason Kidd, still the head coach. Only priority, figure your Cooper Flag stuff out. So we know what he wanted to do to start the year. We already are seeing that plan change a little bit.
We're like on plan 4 for Cooper Flag.
It's like, we're not even at Thanksgiving yet. We're like, all right, now what if we try this? We're just like
until he plays center.
We're just microdosing Cooper Flag game plans. What have you seen so far in this admittedly kind of jumbled situation he's been playing in? And we already made you put on the GM hat. We're making you put on the Jason Kidd coach hat now. We've got 70 some odd games left with this guy who is your future. What needs to happen? What should he be doing on the floor? What needs to be priority with Cooper Flag from now through April?
I think the priority should not be point Coop. As much as that should be a part of it, it shouldn't be the plan. Is that just from what I'm watching? I would want to get him comfortable and then use off seasons and further from now to work on your game and expand it. Right now, I just want him comfortable and feeling confident in himself and his abilities, because he's still so, like, I cannot wrap my head around that he's still a teenager. Like
18.
Because we haven't seen anyone in the league like this since they really got rid of the, going straight from high school to the NBA. So it still blows my mind that he's so as physically like he belongs. Like, the one thing you would think someone this young would be like, okay, well, he's going to get shoved, pushed around, strength, conditioning, athleticism. That's going to be, no, that's the bonus with him. So for me, it would be just more about, he can still do some point Coop stuff, but let's let him play with another ball handler. Let's make things as easy as we can for him, because being a rookie in the NBA is hard enough as it is. I would just want to do that and accentuate his strengths, and then use off seasons, maybe some smaller spurts with the bench units to then develop the other parts of his game and let it kind of float more naturally instead of like trying to smash a square peg into a round hole. That's what I would want to do. I mean, it would also be like, obviously the coaching staff can't worry about like entertainment value, but we've seen when he is more off ball attacking instead of on ball creating in the 11 games they played so far, the team has also just been more fun to watch. And it feels like everything kind of fits into place. They might still lose a lot of games, but you can envision like, okay, this is what it can look like when the talent matches the process, and then they can be like a contender again. But that's what I would do. I can't imagine Point Coop will start again. I mean, he's already abandoned it. I don't think he would go back to it. So I think they're on the right path. I wonder if this was more a kid like being like almost like a protest. Like, this is the point guard you're going to give me. All right, we're going to roll this big lineup out, and this is what it's going to look like. Maybe they move past that now Nico's gone. Now they can maybe like do what they need to do.
I do think it was a not so silent protest to the team that Nico handed him to work with. And he's like, oh, watch this. Somebody use an 18-year-old kid that's 6'9" to play point. You like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe give me a better team.
Right.
Before we get into some rapid fire stuff, I do have a big thought theoretical question, because you've been around this for a long time. We both have as well, and Dallas and Mavericks fans, our entire lives basically. Is it ever going to be the same again?
Ooh,
That's a bomb to drop.
And you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
yeah.
I don't think so, but not in a bad way. I think it's just going to be like a scar. Like, and this is sports. Don't want to like make it more than sports, but it kind of is. I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah.
I mean, livelihoods were affected by what's happened in the last 6
People
months.
care more about this in this city than anything this year.
Yeah. I mean, like personally, like my livelihood was, I mean, in my city across from something. Yeah. Like I can't even imagine from your position of what it was like for the last 9 months. But so it is bigger than sports. And I think it's going to feel like when you grieve, when you lose something big, and I don't want to compare it to something that big, but like you move forward, but it's never gone. And that might be what it feels like, especially if the ownership group stays the same and things don't necessarily improve in that direction of how the organization is structured. But I feel like there's always going to be what if, like we're going to be talking to people when we're in our older age, talking to either grandkids or something, or like we meet up with friends when we're down the line, when we're way past doing this or whatever we're doing in the future, 20 years, 30 years from now. Be like, man, remember that team? Like, what if they didn't do that? Because, like, again, not to go back into the past, that team was awesome coming off the finals before Luka got hurt. Like, I know it was a small sample, but it was like, man, that team was awesome. Like, they were doing it. They got hurt, but they were doing it. And I think there's always going to be that what if. Like, especially, it's not going to get easier when Luka eventually breaks through and wins the title. Like, it feels like if you leave a partner, those milestones, when you see that partner find their new partner, move into a house, have kids, and you're just like, what if? Like, what if I changed something in my life or they changed something in theirs? We could have made this work. Like, and I know that's getting like way too philosophical or way too deep about.
I think there'll be a lot of people.
I think that's gonna just exist, even if they're like happy and they've kind of moved on. They're still enjoying the product. There's always going to be something in the back of their head that I think says that. Yeah,
there are moments that they can't take from me, no matter what. Right? They can't take me being at an NBA Finals game in Boston, like at all the games here, from walking out of a birthday dinner and seeing the Minnesota play like happen, like standing at a bar, like overly crowded, like that was such just cool stuff. But yeah, it's never gonna be the same. I don't think you don't come back from a betrayal of that size, right? As an organization, even if you fire the guy that you should have fired the moment he walked in and said, crazy idea. That guy's not very good. We should get rid of him. No. Like, I just don't feel like it's ever going to be the same. But
I think, I don't know. I think it could, but I think it's going to take a lot of time. And I don't even know. I know Cooper Flagg's going to be damn good. I don't know if Cooper Flagg can change this for reasons that have literally nothing to do with Cooper Flagg, right? It's just too soon. It might be a thing where they might be really good. He might be the best dude there, and it might not really change something. It might have to be a generation from now when somebody else new comes through and it's a completely clean slate. But maybe it is Cooper Flagg. I don't know. I would like to think it can't ever be the same, but I do think we won't see somebody that good, that fun again. Somebody, when I wrote yesterday about the trade and people have been in my mentions about it, somebody brought up like the point that people don't talk about enough, and he was right, is that it wasn't just how good Luka was. It's that he was so fun and he did stuff. I mean, even if this team was winning right now, they were never going to win fun. This wasn't going to be enjoyable, even if they got to 50 wins.
It's going to be a rock fight.
It was going to be a rock fight every night. And that was, the Luka Magic thing, magic was the operative word. So I don't know. I'd like to think it's going to be, it could feel that good again, but someone that gifted and that aesthetically enjoyable to watch at center of it, that I find hard to believe.
We're at the point in the movie where we're in like Dark Knight Rises, when we're in the bottom of the tunnel and there's no sunlight. And you think you're never going to see sunlight again, right? You're convinced I'm never going to see sunlight.
You got to climb the well, man. You got to climb the well.
So it's probably short-sighted for me to say, but that's how I feel.
There's new Mavericks fans every day that won't have the heartbreak because they won't have been around, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the path forward. But for people that experienced it, I think it just lingers.
Yep.
Probably. All right, we need to bring the vibe up. We're going to do some buzzer beaters. And what better way to put a smile on everybody's faces? Josh Bowe, favorite place or moment you saw someone chant "Fire Nico"?
Oh my gosh, this is gonna out me because being a hermit, because I don't know if I've been out enough.
It can be
to
on the
see-
internet. You don't have to be in person. Just anything you saw, because God knows, and I put this in my column yesterday, the amount of places
That's crazy.
that it went down.
I think it was medieval times.
Medieval times.
I like seeing that.
Medieval times up there.
Keeping it in Dallas,
Yeah.
like a staple. Being like, man, I remember being there as a kid and getting yelled at when I asked for silverware, and people are chanting "Fire Nico" here. Like, what does the king or whatever say when he hears those chants? Does he make fun of him for that? Like, who is this Nico? 'Cause I
I'd
know
like
that-
him to spin it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like, indeed.
Yeah.
We will.
I decree.
The wicked warlock Nico. Banish him. Like, they should have done something like that.
I think College Game Day, the signs are my favorite. Whenever it just be like Corso sitting there talking, and over his shoulder is a Fire Nico sign. They're like in Eugene, Oregon. And
That
it's
was the crazy part.
Just
I
like
missed
a-
that one. I remember seeing, I tried to find as many as I could. I mean, I remember one in Indiana for a road game. I remember one in San Antonio. I didn't know about the College Game Day one. I was very partial. There was a WWE show at Dickies in Fort Worth, and they're bored just before people are coming out.
Right.
That's how you know it was Dallas culture. It just became a thing to fill the silence. What are we doing right now? I don't know. Fire Nico, man.
Yeah, just crank it up. All right, favorite Luka moment.
Ooh, man. I mean, that Minnesota game winner was. I mean, that was the moment where you're like, "This is." I mean, you kind of knew going into that because they'd already beaten OKC, but that felt like almost like a punctuation at the end of a sentence of "This is a championship team. This is a championship player.
Yeah.
This is the guy that's going to do it." So that would probably be it. I mean, and this is a weird, like a more low key one. That dunk he had his rookie season in Denver that was almost won
game winner or
a game tying or something like that. Like, that was also just like another moment where it was like, okay, like because the whole thing leading up to him in the draft, he's not athletic enough. Can he handle it?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's brush all that BS aside, and that was really fun.
Best Dirk game winner.
Best Dirk game winner. I mean, it's got to be game 2 of the finals, right? Can it be anything else?
Funny enough, I think he said game 4. When we had him for the pilot, he said game 4.
Is that well?
That was the fever game.
Yeah,
but I
That
always
was the drive
think
right.
that was the drive
over
right.
Haslem,
Game
yes.
2 was the busted finger going left.
Right. And technically game 4 they were winning when he made that. But it was it won the game since he pushed it.
Yeah.
I mean,
He clarified. He was
He
like,
did?
"Are you talking about going ahead or just like putting the game away?"
Dirk knows the
And we were
details.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's almost like it was his career.
I mean, personally, it wasn't game winner, but like the game tying shot against the Spurs in game 7 in 2006 was like
Unbelievable.
I'm in high school. Like that was a formative moment
Oh, yeah.
of my youth that I'll always remember for the rest of my life.
favorite Mav that doesn't get enough credit. Any era. Just guy you're like, that was my guy. I thought he was gonna be the best.
Josh Howard.
J-Ho?
Probably. Love Josh Howard.
Yeah.
Again, it all comes back to where were you in junior high and high school. So
Yeah.
that was part like everyone's favorite players from when they were in junior high and high school. But he was
Easy and
awesome.
J-Ho.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The tandem.
Yeah.
That was fun. I mean, because he was like that anecdote, like because those Mavs teams didn't have athletic wings. They were relying on like a lot of older vets, like Adrian Griffin and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, this guy. This is
Him
the future.
coming in with Marquise Daniels for those first couple of Marquise
Team
years,
edge too.
and it was just like a shot in the arm, and it came out of nowhere. It's like,
Right.
wait, these two are here now.
Last
It's like,
pick of the first round, and then was Marquise undrafted or was he second round pick or
What is
something
a second?
like that? He
Maybe
he wasn't
second.
a first rounder. I know.
No,
that.
definitely not.
Yeah.
And both of them coming in together. It's like, wait, we got two young athletic dudes here with all of this offensive firepower. Oh,
Right.
this is going somewhere. Yeah. We talked about how it's been a little weird so far with Cooper. We also talked that Cooper's really good. So true or false? Cooper Flagg still finishes the year as the NBA Rookie of the Year.
True.
Okay, like that optimism there.
All right, give us a realistic name you'd like to see Dallas go after at the trade deadline.
This is tough because the goal at the trade deadline isn't going to be get the best player back.
Right.
This is going to sound like Kobe White from Chicago. I don't know if he's good enough to mention in this, but he
I've seen
feels
him linked
like
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's in fake trade machines a lot. If you trade AD to Chicago,
He's always coming back.
yeah, he feels like a good or Kyrie not coming back this season.
Mm-hmm.
Still young enough that he kind of fits what they want to do. I don't know if he's going to be good enough to be part of like the next championship team with Cooper Flag, but he feels like a good, let's get someone in here that fits the timeline enough and does what we need because we don't have this.
Him and Cooper in transition would be electric.
Yeah. I don't know how many games you're going to win, but they're going to, exactly. You're going to be electric.
Yeah. Funds in short supply too. Almost as short supply as wins.
Let's have, before winning, let's have fun first. So then winning can come.
Absolutely, man. People got to get back in. Yeah. People got to get back in and enjoy this as an entertainment product. Last one, fill in the blank. When it's all said and done, the Mavericks finish the season in blank place in the Western Conference.
14th.
Okay.
I know New Orleans beat them, but I just can't.
Yeah.
And honestly, they might have a little. I wonder if they win a couple games here for the next 2 weeks because the pressure's off and they're not.
No one's booing at them.
Yeah, they're not miserable. Yeah. I think something I've learned doing this gig for as long as we've done it is when I was very young, like high school, college, I was so into analytics and data and statistics and that statistical edge, and I kind of lost track of these are humans.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that's not on a spreadsheet that impacts these games that we can never quantify or even qualify. And I think that might be something here where they might win 3 out of their next 6, even if they're not favored, just because they're happy. Like that. Like think about our jobs. We do a better job when we're happy, when we're doing our work.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
I know. Kirk
thrives on the rage.
I know. I just had to.
It's like turns with the Incredible Hulk. It's the best.
I had to throw that.
Josh, you've been awesome. Where can the good people find you on the internet?
Find Mavs Moneyball, of course, D Magazine, StrongSide for Mavericks articles as well. MavsMoneyball.com, which we help run, which I've been doing since 2011. And then Pod Maverick, wherever you find your podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
We'll have you back. A heavy episode. We need to have some fun. As you guys are starting to pick up on, we like to change it up the last segment of the show. And I'm a kid who grew up on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. We're gonna play a little phone a friend right now. And what we're gonna do, I bet there's some folks who have heard the news here. My boy Mike, you tell me all the time about your Rolodex. You tell me you got a lot of friends.
I got a lot of guys in my phone, okay?
Yeah.
I got a lot of guys that I've worked with over the years, being in the industry.
Yeah.
A lot of Mavs names. I'm always bragging about it. I'm going to put it to the test.
Okay.
Okay?
Let's call some people.
So I'm going to give you a list of, these are all Maverick adjacent individuals.
Yeah.
Some I have talked on the phone to a lot. Some I still text with pretty often.
Some we've never spoken to at all.
I never have. And it's probably pretty obvious once I list the names. But I'm going to give you dealer's choice.
All right. This is power. I love this.
Of who we get to call first.
Okay.
And you don't just make me call the weirdest one.
No.
We're gonna call the person that you think would pick up first dial from me.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, give me the list. Give me the options. What's the menu?
So here are your options.
Okay.
Devin Harris. Greg Buckner.
Okay.
Former Maverick.
Because he's not the guy.
Former Maverick legend, retired number. In the rafters, legend Rolando Blackman.
That's a big one.
Chris Kaman. He was here for a minute.
He was here.
Yeah. For just a minute.
Yeah.
Jason the Jet Terry.
Legend.
I'm going to throw Maxi Klebe on the list, but I don't really want to call Maxi. He's on another team.
That's
I don't want to create any quotables from Maxi.
No.
That's my guy. Him and Jalen Brunson are the guys that I was closest to in my tenure. So both of them are still playing, unfortunately. When they retire, they can make the list.
Yeah.
And then the Matrix, Shawn Marion.
Okay, I'm going to assume that Trix is the guy who we stand the best chance of getting on the phone right here in this moment.
I think that's a pretty smart bet.
Okay. All right, let's try him.
All right, let's try Shawn Marion. I'm going to read his number out here aloud. Everybody,
so get your pens down.
All right, let's see how this goes. Here we go.
You're leaving voicemail. You don't pick up.
Hello.
Trix.
Yeah.
What you doing, man? It's Mike.
I'm good. I'm chilling. What's up?
Not much, man. We were on air recording my podcast, and I bet my co-host that I could get you to answer your phone.
Who's this Mike who?
Mike Marshall from the Mavs.
Oh, what's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm good. What's popping?
Where you at?
I'm at home. What's good?
Did you hear about Nico getting fired?
I did.
What'd you think?
I mean, enough. It is what it is, man. It's part of it.
I know, man.
It sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. What do you think about Cooper Flagg?
Special.
I love it. So, my co-host dropped something the other day with your name on it, and it shocked me, but then I had to think about it for a minute. The best two-way player in Dallas Mavericks history. He said Shawn Marion without hesitation.
That's easy. Yeah.
That's easy.
I'm not wrong.
See, you laughing, but you know what's funny? I want you to think about something, Mike. This is really interesting. One of my boys came up to me, something like that. He said, "You have to, one of the things when you're talking about the game of basketball, you have to be honest. And if you're truly a basketball savant, you have to be honest and with no biases, and forget about the narratives been created by the media." He said, Tricks, I want you to think about something. I was like, okay, I'm gonna think about it. He's like, go look at your numbers, just your numbers. Don't forget about the person. Go look at your numbers compared to the power forwards and the small forwards in NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at what and how you was able to do things. He's like,
No, but he takes his time, man.
No. Yeah, I don't see him being out that long. No, that's not happening. No. I think he'll be back way before then.
Okay. Well, I'll trust you.
Before All-Star break. Yeah, before All-Star break, easily.
Okay.
Because he's coming back in March. The season is in the season. He don't need to come back to play.
Right. Right. All right, man. Well, we got to get off here. I love you, man. Great talking to you. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, I am. I just got to Chicago. I'm about to do some stuff. I'm about to call my son right now.
Hell yeah.
All right, baby.
All right. Be good.
Later.
Bye.
That was a roaring success.
So there you go. You got 18-minute call with Matrix out of nowhere. There he is. There's the man.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good show. Heavy show.
Yeah.
Fun show.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
We peaked at the end.
Yeah. Thanks for rocking with us. Subscribe. Check out the great Haymaker Studios up in Frisco.
Yeah, at Haymaker Network. Follow them. See what's going on, man. Check out their Dirk episode.
Yeah.
Humongous Dirk episode. Phenomenal work from Skin and Ben. That's the first time I've said it that way. It's usually Ben and Skin, so that tripped me up.
That is the brand.
Sorry about that. But yeah, thank you to Haymaker Studio and the Haymaker Network, and to Matt's on the ones and twos, and JD making us look good and making it easy for us. Thank you so much. Hopefully you check out the previous episodes. They're not too dated for you, but thanks for watching StrongSide.
We'll see you next time.